It's incredible how different this feels. It's such an improvement. My goodness, it feels polished now. You can have this variety of angles here, as you can see. Oh, baby, there it is. It's the hottest new smartphone right now. We are fresh off the heels of the event. It is the latest folding device from Samsung. I remember being back here, it was like a year ago, with the original Galaxy Fold, which was so different, so strange. It got me all fired up. It got the world fired up. That video has like 17 million views. Well, today they're back, and they claim to have made absolutely everything better about the Galaxy Fold, which is now called the Z Fold 2. And in fact, the box also says 5G capable device. This is set to be the premium powerhouse, multifunctional. Is it a tablet? Is it a phone? We're still not certain. It's a computing device that fits in your pocket and does some really amazing things, to be honest. And it's part of this march towards a completely new form factor. This could be it in front of me right now. Z Fold 2 5G. Flip around to the side of the box. Mystic Bronze appears to be the color that I have in front of me. And it's kind of a fancy package. You start to pull off this cover on the outside. You have the folding indication on the packaging. Smooth box. And oh, look at this. A little description first. They're going to tell you about how they're changing the shape of the future before they show you the actual device. Introducing Galaxy Z Fold 2 5G. Reimagine the possibilities of the smartphone experience. Unlock endless versatility and enjoy unrivaled engineering and craftsmanship. Welcome to the new mobile era. So, I mean, they're saying it big here. They're basically telling you this is the future. You have no choice. You will be folding. Is it true? That remains to be seen, but I definitely think there is some stage possibly beyond the slab, and this is maybe the closest that we have right now. We remove that. First things first, a little bit of paperwork here by the looks of it. Yeah, it's paperwork and a SIM card tool, as would be expected with any smartphone. Then we see the actual unit. The care instruction is there as well. This is specific to this folding device, and it's similar to what we had with the previous version. Of course, there was a lot of press around some of the drawbacks of the original version from a durability standpoint. Even though I never expected it to be the most durable thing, some people had worse experiences than others. They claim to have fixed many of the durability issues, including a completely new hinge design, which aims to remove debris. They've done a lot here. They've got the micro, slim, sort of glass film situation on the front. So they paid some attention. They've re-engineered it, and my goodness, it gets you every time, doesn't it? It feels solid in the hand. I do have the original Galaxy Fold over there, so I will be doing a quick comparison after I get the plastic off of this one. When using a wireless charger, fold the device and place the center of the devices back on the center of the wireless charger. This new Z Fold 2, the styling, very similar in fact to the new Note series device, with this, well, first with the Mystic color, but then also with the camera module and the shape of it. Let's just remove the plastic, why don't we? That's what you do here, isn't it? Oh, wow. Yes, indeed. That gets me going. It probably gets you going. The other thing that stands out to me right away, the front-facing camera, tiny now. It's got that Infinity O situation, tiny little cutout, whereas the previous version Fold had the full-out notch on the right-hand side of the unfolded display. Before I fold this, I want to give you a look around here. So this is the glass back version of the Mystic Bronze. It's not the plastic one, I don't believe. And we have our fingerprint scanner over here on the right-hand side. Volume rocker is up above there. Speaker units. Speakers on the previous one really were a surprise. They were impressive to me. I was curious how they'd be implemented. But you actually have speakers on both sides, so when you're holding in the landscape view, you're getting a stereo-like experience with the audio. You have your USB Type-C connector in this area over here, and then the SIM card tray is over on this side. And right away, I can tell we have a much different hinge makeup. It's kind of pushing up against the center of the display to alleviate some of the crease and presumably provide some structural integrity. The hinge is just so different on this model, and because of that, it can close now at almost any angle. Look at this. So it will freeze at any angle you might want it at, and this is in contrast to the previous model, which would slap shut far sooner than this one does. However, in the closed mode, you do have a satisfying kind of click to it, as you can see here, when it goes into the close. And then on the front of the device, this is where things get magical because, of course, on the previous model, the front display, a little underwhelming, the shrunken front display. You put up with it, it's the cutting edge, it's the new phone, but this one gives you a real 2020 smartphone experience even when the device is closed. So I'm gonna go ahead and boot this up, see if we have any power here. And I'm just gonna set that to the side for a quick moment. Also inside the package, we have our power brick super fast charging indicator on there. By the way, this device has a 4,500 milliamp hour battery, Type-C connector on there, and this is likely a 15 watt fast charger. This is your USB-C to C cable also included in the package. So that sort of rounds out the device. And this, like, to me, this is the key. We have a real display top to bottom. No, it's not the most aggressive screen to body ratio if you were judging the phone just based on the front of the device, but it is a huge improvement over the previous version, which had a super slim display, which was kind of a secondary thing. And in using that device on a daily basis, I would often just go ahead and flip it open for absolutely everything that I would do, because that front display for me was just a little too small. This time around, I think the quick kind of smartphone functionality, you will use the external display, and then when it gets into the media consumption or doing more comprehensive work, then you pop into the whole deal. This hinge on the old model, that's what I have here, is crunchy. It has a kind of a crunchiness to it, and then a pop at the very end, and then a slap at the end over here. Now, at the time, I was kind of nervous about it. I was like, how durable is that gonna be? Now, I didn't have any issues with mine, but of course, the issues were out there. This guy over here, the new model, there's no crunch. The whole thing is smooth, and they talked in the event, they've got these brushes in there cleaning the thing out. It's incredible how different this feels. It's such an improvement. My goodness, it feels polished now. Okay, all right, I'll give it to you, Samsung. I'll give it to you on that. It doesn't have to snap shut or be in one angle or another. You can have this variety of angles here, as you can see, because it is a smooth. You know what this reminds me of? On cars, you can get a different type of joint, a different type of hinge on a car door. If you remember on the Panamera, when you open the door, you can stop it at any point. It's a superior hinge mechanism, as opposed to a car door that wants to swing shut or open and can't stop in between. This is exactly like that, where at any point along the way, there's enough friction there. Now, I don't know what that exactly looks like on the inside. It's very interesting from an engineering perspective to know what's necessary to achieve that. But it gives you tremendously more confidence when using it, not feeling that kind of grind or that resistance to sort of hold a position. This is what I remember, and this is what I miss from having used the Galaxy Fold, the original model, as the daily phone, is typing. I know it sounds crazy, but text input with the split keyboard on the Fold device is just it's a very pleasant experience. There's no cramping. You feel like you could input some tremendous amounts of text, and the balance of this device, there's a comfort to it. You know what's crazy about this too? I just received this device. I switched over to this device. I just switched over to the new Note, to the Ultra model, and I can't wait to get my SIM card out of there because this thing's sitting here now. Tough life is a tough gig. Now that's all right. I think I'll survive. There are some adjustments some improvements that have been made to the multitasking, the way the software deals with the fact that you have such a large smartphone when it's unfolded. For the unlock options, you have face recognition, fingerprints, pattern, PIN, password. I'll go ahead with the fingerprint for now, though on the daily when I use this, I'll probably enable the face unlock as well. Now the fingerprint, it's a bit different. Obviously, as you know, it's over here on the side as opposed to in display. So you're just gonna tap away. I don't mind this. I'm fine with the side mounted. I'm one of these guys when it comes to the fingerprint. It could be on the back, it could be on the side. For this device, it obviously makes a lot of sense on the side, or it can be inside the display, and I'm okay with that too. But the key with this one is you need an unlock system that's gonna work when closed or when opened. So you slot it into the side and you're good to go. All right, here we go. We're booted up. Let's get that screen brightness going real quick. Actually, let's jump into the settings and see what we've got for options on the display. Of course, we have light dark mode. Full brightness, I'll turn off adaptive for the purpose of this video. We have the motion smoothness now, 120 Hertz. You have the standard option, just like on the Note series. If you wanna improve battery life, you can go back down to 60 Hertz. Of course, I would never do such a thing on a phone like this. I will leave it in the adaptive 120 Hertz. I also was just talking recently about how I've become happier over the years with what Samsung's doing with their UI compared to the way that it was in the old days. I recently stuck the SIM card into the Note series, and I just tweeted out this morning how much I like Samsung Pay, because I think it's the superior option. Works on even those older machines where the Google Pay might not always work, for me at least. So there are some Samsung advantages out there that'll make the transition from the Note, which I just switched to, it'll make the transition okay. You have some other screen mode stuff for the way you want it to portray the colors. You can see it's in the vivid mode. I'm gonna change the screen timeout as well. The key here, when we pull in from the side, this menu is gonna be something you're gonna use frequently on a device like this, because it will let you set up pairs of apps. Because when you're unfolded, you really have, you have a layout and a scale that's capable of multitasking in a way that a regular smartphone just is not. So if I wanted to launch into YouTube and a web browser, it's really that easy, as you can see here. And I'm not giving up that much. I could just be over here. I could be browsing some news over here. I could just pop into The Verge, and then I could have, you know how you are in the home feed when you're on the YouTube, you're scrolling through. So you might even have the video going. You might even be looking at what you're gonna watch next. You might even, you know how the people sometimes like to jump into the comments real quick over here, read the comments, watch the video, then you're reading the news. But of course it could be more. You can have your Messenger over here, so you're going back and forth with the texting or the Slack, or whatever it is you use for your messaging. You could have the video conferencing going, and then you can hit this button in the center here and actually do a quick flip on the two, and look how seamless that is. You can flip it this way. Look at that, top and bottom. So I got the big video playing. I'm learning how to make, what is it, the brownies? I don't even know. Is it a chocolate cake? I'm just fired up, as you can tell. I'm doing many things at once because I got the new Fold, the Fold 2. They fixed it all. Well, that's what they say. Time will tell. But you can see that I'm amplified over here. Now you can also go in here and save this pair. This could be any pair of apps, so that when you pull out from the side, it's gonna sit there as an option. If I wanna add the messages in there like this, and then pull over from here, and then grab YouTube with the messages, I can pull this into a pop-up view. I can pull it all the way over to the side, all the way over to this side. So how about we do that? How about now it's YouTube and your messages? I don't have any messages in here right now, but you can tell how this would operate, and it doesn't even stop there. If I want to get crazy and add a calculator in here, now I got the messages, the calculator, because I'm doing the math, as you would be if you needed to. And so it's the homework, the messaging, and the YouTube all happening at once. And of course, at any moment in time, I could go in there and just maximize that. I could go in there and flip things around completely. I mean, it's really an interesting thing to think about, how all the different ways in which you could take advantage of this extra real estate. And then at the same time, how you could flip into phone mode and essentially have your similar phone experience. Look at this one-handed functionality, narrow enough that in my grip, I can pretty much reach everywhere. I mean, this was probably my most major criticism of the original version, was that I was opening it for everything. And I was okay with that. I was sitting there saying, well, yeah, I'm opening it for everything. But once I get there, man, it's an experience you can't get on other smartphones. So I could deal with it. But now the compromise is far less. It's still a little bulkier. It's still a little heavier than a traditional or typical phone. Even if we compare to this Note series, it's heavier than that. But the payoff, once you hit the couch, once you have an extra moment to enjoy some content, and you're here, that's a big move. So, all right, let's go back to YouTube and let's check the multimedia on this. Let's go ahead and check Lew Later video and just see how the audio sounds, see how the video looks when we boost up the scale of it. So we have a recent Lew Later video over here. And as you can see, this is really where things start to shine. I'm gonna go all the way up to 1440p. And there's been an argument on screen resolution for smartphones, at which point are there diminishing returns because of the scale of smartphones. But once you get into tablet territory, which is kind of where I would put this when you're in the unfolded setting here, and now you can begin to appreciate the 1440p. Now let's go ahead and just boost up the audio real quick.
We're pretty close.
I think we like to think of ourselves as, you know,
Now I will hold it
more
actually
advanced,
this way,
more beautiful,
so that
more intelligent.
your speaker grills,
We just
your
want
hands
like-
actually fit in. You see the way they thought about it. Your hands fit in
That's
below
all it is.
that.
It's all it.
Difference, really.
That's all it took. Anyway, they got brains. Those pigs got brains, and they have complex brains like we do. And so they started their trials.
Talk about the
on-
Neuralink
there were
stuff.
3 pigs.
Oh man, this just makes me realize, it makes me miss the Fold, the original Fold. Because the thing about this gig, the thing about this job, you're switching phones so much, it's hard to even keep it together. What do I like the most? What do I enjoy the most? What really gets me going after a decade of doing this? A decade, that's right. And sometimes you forget what your experiences were like as you flip between phones after that one. And this, it's just bringing it all back for me. It's becoming clear that this is the type of experience that can be a lot of fun. And to be honest with you, even though as nice as that full screen thing is, this mode right here, when you're just playing the video up top and then jumping into your next video or the comments over here, and then the video on the top is basically the size of a smartphone. Tremendous experience. Well, I don't need to tell you. The audio sounds good as well, by the way. Now, I do want to jump into the camera real quick. Now, something really cool here is you actually have like a half folded mode now, where the device knows if you're in a sort of partial fold. And there's new functionality throughout apps to take advantage of that. Like in this case, if I go ahead and snap a quick photo of my Note series here, like this, and then go ahead and do a half fold, you see the recent photo over there, because you might want to quickly check up on it. Now, the other thing you can do with this off button here is you actually can put the cover screen onto the preview. Look at it. So they're starting to think about ways in which they can really utilize this unusual and this unique form factor. Now, as far as camera performance is concerned, we have the usual suspects, including the standard focal length. We have the 2x zoom, so nothing super crazy in the zoom area, at least in the optical world, and then the 0.5x wide. So we have a few options here to choose from. Very vibrant and saturated, sort of what Samsung is known for. So we can just toggle through. Probably the standard frame here, the most impressive of the bunch, but you have the versatility of the ultra wide and a little bit of zoom, which should be suitable for most people. Now, of course, you may want to toggle that selfie camera as well, in which case we can do the little beard hair. And it does have the double setting on it as well for the group shot, which I'll set it to that by default. In 3, 2, 1. Kablamo. And yes, we successfully have identified individual beard hairs as you'd expect. And this, even this preview window, you start to recognize the advantage of having so much screen when you go in there even to analyze. Whether it's a photo, maybe it's Google Maps that you're just zooming in upon. It's a whole different kind of experience from a typical smartphone because the scale is just so much more significant. And then if you go to the partial close or to the full close, you can carry on your activities over here on this particular display. You can use your camera from within this display. Same thing, I might want a single-handed selfie, in which case it's a Blammo, like so, and it's just a regular smartphone from this standpoint. I go back into the camera and maybe I want to take not a selfie at all, but I just want to use my camera like this. Maybe this is a more convenient hold for me. There's my standard focal length. There's my wide. It's all just better thought out than the previous version. And kind of, well, I mean, it's more sophisticated. It's the next model. You would expect them to go in there and learn a bunch from the original and fix some of the things from the original. I believe they've done this. It feels sleeker, smoother. It feels more like a finished product. It's still going to be a premium device with a premium price tag. We need to remember that. But I'm glad they're still working on it. I'm glad devices like this exist to kind of reinvigorate my perspective on tech and give me a place to put my SIM card that is different from the vast landscape of slabs that exist out there in 2020. That's been an unboxing video. That is the new Z Fold 2.